Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into this, because today we're charting a course into literally the most awe-inspiring, terrifying, and mythic territory we have ever covered. We are stripping back the towering, dark fantasy layers of the warland kingdom of Elbaf. And look, this isn't just some island of giant warriors. It's the absolute epicenter of the world's deepest, darkest secrets. We're talking world-ending lore, heartbreaking tragedies, and a cinematic clash that has been building for a quarter of a century. Just listen to the words of the famous explorer Louis Arnaut for a second. Do not prolong your stay in this land for too long. Let the sheer, foreboding finality of that warning wash over you. The Straw Hats haven't just sailed into a fun new adventure. No, they've walked straight into a kingdom harboring apocalyptic mysteries. If you linger in the shadows of Elbaf, you might just uncover a calamity that the world was never meant to see again. To understand what we're dealing with, you have to grasp the staggering mythological scale of this realm. Elbaf isn't just a flat piece of land. It's a layered ecosystem built directly onto the legendary treasure tree Adam. You know, the very wood used to build the Pirate King's ship. Warland is actually divided into three distinct realms. Down at the bottom, you have the underworld, which is this frozen wasteland used as a prison and execution ground. Above that is the Sunworld, the vast middle realm where the giant villages are. And at the very top, the Heaven World. It's a structure straight out of Norse cosmology, and our heroes have plummeted right to its absolute bottom. Which brings us to a really terrifying question. Down in that freezing, desolate underworld, Luffy discovers this massive, thin, muscular figure, and he's bound in sheer sea stone chains tied directly to the world tree itself. He has these hellish pupils hidden behind bandages, and an aura so overwhelming that it requires the combined strength of all the warriors of Elbaf just to keep him detained. So who could possibly warrant this level of absolute paralyzing fear? Well, Prince Loki, the accursed prince, the shame of Elbaf. He's the wielder of a legendary devil fruit passed down through the royal family, the Ru-Ru-Yu Nomi model Nidhogger. This mythical dragon fruit allows him to summon apocalyptic lightning, a devastating power he calls Thorheim. Loki is a figure of epic grandeur and terrifying chaos. I mean, he's been chained in the dark for 6 years, claiming to be the sun god who will ultimately bring this entire world to an end. But wait, actually scratch that. Beneath all the chaos and those hellish pupils is a deeply tragic emotional core. He's a misunderstood monster. See, Loki didn't murder his father, King Harald, out of cold-blooded ambition. From birth, he was despised by his own mother, physically abused, and constantly blamed for every single catastrophe that struck the island. And the greatest crime he's known for, the murder of the king, that was a desperate act he took the fall for to cover up a much, much darker truth threatening to consume all of Elbaf. And just when you think you have a handle on things, the plot thickens even farther. A dark pentagram known as the Abyss opens up right on Elbaf, and stepping out of it, alongside the terrifying Holy Knights, is what appears to be red-haired Shanks. We absolutely have to pause here and ask ourselves, why on earth is an Emperor of the Sea forcefully annexing Elbaf for the world government, threatening to hold the giants' children hostage? Okay, so here's the absolute game changer. It's not Shanks. This is Figureland's Shamrock, Shanks' identical older twin brother. And the contrast between these two is just electrifying. On one side, we have Shanks, a pirate who chose found family, absolute freedom, and actually rejected his birthright as a celestial dragon to protect the lower world. But on the other side is Shamrock, a holy knight who fully embraces his celestial dragon blood, bringing arrogant authority, subjugation, and ruthless military force right to Elbaf's shores. How did two brothers end up on such completely opposite sides of history? Well, it all traces back to the sheer tragedy forged in the fires of God Valley. 38 years ago, a red-haired mother on God Valley begged a reluctant young Marine named Monkey D. Dragon to save her infant twins from being taken by their father, Saint Garling. Amidst the slaughter of the native hunting competition, an atrocity so vile it literally made Dragon quit the Marines, the twins were forever separated. One was raised in the absolute freedom of the pirate seas, and the other was molded into a living weapon of subjugation for the world government. All right, let's move into part 1 of the grand mysteries, the Harley and the secrets of the Void Century. Deep within the treasure tree Adam, Frankie discovers an ancient mural drawn 3,000 years ago. It depicts the secret Elbaf text known as the Harley. And guys, this ancient text eclipses even Vegapunk's global message. It unlocks the absolute truth of the world that came before the Void Century, revealing a cyclical history of catastrophic destruction. In the first world, 3,000 years ago, humanity's desire caused them to touch the forbidden sun, leading to the birth of the Serpent of Hellflame, which is likely the creation of the Red Line itself. Then came the second world, the era of the Void Century, where the forest deity brought forth devil fruits, literally seeds of war, and the people of the Half Moon, the clan of D, began to dream. And finally, we have the third world, the present day, prophesying a promised day where the sun god will once again dance and laugh, unifying a totally fragmented world. But the Harley doesn't just promise hope. It carries the deep, lasting scars of a devastating failure. Just read this final verse. Those men would be unable to meet again. Let that chilling finality hang in the air for a second. It refers to the tragedy of the first Joy Boy and the Ancient Alliance. It was a massive, world-spanning promise that was violently broken, ending in Noah's failure and a world drowned under 200 meters of water. Which brings us to part 2, and the true nightmare of this story. The Devil King, Imo. See, Imu is the ultimate architect of that ancient tragedy, and the true mastermind currently tearing Elbaf apart, and they're doing it with a power called Dami Reversi. This isn't just some physical attack, it's a dark art that forcefully invades the mind, tearing away the victim's free will and transforming them into uncontrollable, wicked demons. This is exactly what happened to the legendary Roxty Zevik at Godwali, and tragically, it's what happened to King Harold of Elbaf. Harold accepted the Abyss Mark to protect his people, but when Imu's control took hold, Harold used his last shred of sanity to beg Jarul and Loki to execute him. He willingly sacrificed his own life rather than enslaving his nation. But right now, in the present day, the stakes have escalated to an unprecedented, terrifying high. Imu literally leaves Mario Geese and descends upon Elbaf, physically. This is an immortal ruler who is hidden in the shadows for 800 years, now stepping out onto the surface of the blue planet. And the moment Imu arrives, they bleed from the mouth, showing a severe physical toll, just to personally unleash the power of evil, transforming the legendary giant captains Dory and Brogy into loyal demons. So what does this all mean? It means we are no longer just looking at a pirate battle. We are bearing witness to a mythological war for the very soul of the world. On one side, you have Luffy, embodying the sun god Nika, bringing joy, laughter, and liberation, drawing people to him through pure freedom. On the absolute opposite extreme is Saint Nerona Imu, the Devil King, representing absolute control, dark arts, forcing subjugation through demonic transformation, and tearing away the one thing Luffy values most in the entire world, free will. This leads us to a deeply provocative question, one that even Imu is forced to confront right now. Is Luffy's destiny a dream, or is it fate? As Imu steps onto Elbaf, they express this genuine, terrifying realization that this exact moment, the gathering of these specific individuals on the shores of Orland, was preordained. It was orchestrated centuries ago by the original Joy Boy and Davy Jones. The board was set 800 years ago, and Luffy is the piece finally making the checkmate move. And that brings us to our final, breathtaking reality. The Sun God versus the Devil King, the dawn of the final war. Everything from Loki's tragic chains to Shanks' shattered family tree to the 3,000-year-old prophecies of the Harley is converging right here in the shadow of the treasure tree atom. The apocalyptic battle for the future of this world isn't coming later. It is igniting right now. So the only question left for you is, when the giant tree burns and the heavens split, whose side will you be standing on?